so I will send the recording as well as additional resources afterwards for you. So I know if some people weren't able to join, they can watch it later. And if you need to hop off, that's totally fine. All right, so to get started, a little bit of an icebreaker. On a scale of 1 to 9, how would you rate how your students are generally feeling about the future? So I'm going to launch this as a poll. Let's see where that one is. So how are your students feeling? I know I was often feeling like number 7, feeling a bit overwhelmed. There's so many options. And how can we support students in feeling a bit more calm, maybe like number 4? Thank you for adding in your responses. Always fun to see what picture resonates with people the most. Awesome. So I'm just going to give you about another 2 seconds to add it in, then we'll end that poll. A bit of a split vote here, so I'm going to end it in 3, 2, 1. So we do have a lot of the people are showing that 5, 6, 7, 8. So some of those, yeah, the head in the sand, feeling a bit unsure, a bit tired, maybe. So how can we make our students feel more supported and excited about their future? It is overwhelming. It is a big opportunity and a big step forward. And that's why here at My Blueprint, we're so happy to be providing that support. All right. So a couple quick housekeeping notes before we dive further in. If you're new to Zoom webinars, we do have the chat button as well as the Q&A. So the Q&A button or the chat button are great places to ask questions. You can definitely just put everything in the chat. Roxanne and myself will be monitoring the chat. If you do also have specific questions about your own school district, you can also add those in and we can follow up with you afterwards. And as I mentioned, the session is being recorded, so you can refer to it at a later point as well. But definitely ask questions. We want to hear from you. If there's a specific reason why you joined the webinar today and you want to make sure your questions are answered, add those in now so we can make sure we're implementing them throughout the webinar. All right, a couple quick notes of the agenda today. We will be going into a little bit of an introduction, connecting specifically to the Career Task Force recommendations in Alberta, and then we'll be diving into the majority of our time in an exploration, looking specifically with an Alberta lens. So the EPP tasks, the COM course connections, and then forwards and backwards planning with an Alberta specific focus. We'll leave time for Q&A at the end, but again, you can ask questions throughout, and we'll end with some next steps to get started as well as resources that we will share with you in an email likely tomorrow after we get the recording all set up. So a couple quick goals. We want to today really focus on how you can use My Blueprint to support students in Alberta and gain access to resources to collaborate with colleagues and feel confident sharing this information with your school community. So we want you to leave here today feeling as though you can share it with your students, your fellow staff, so everyone feels supported using My Blueprint. And I know many of you are in kind of leadership roles where you are taking ownership of some of the pieces of the career planning and pathway planning. So this is a great resource for you to be able to provide students with really well-rounded full support. All right, so I'm Joy, as I mentioned. I'm an education services manager here at My Blueprint. I've been with My Blueprint for about 2.5 years, and my background is in elementary school teaching for the past 5 years in Ontario. Really passionate about supporting students as they reach their goals. I'm going to pass it off to Roxanne, my wonderful colleague.
Hi, everyone. I'm Roxanne, and I'm a partner success manager here at My Blueprint. I have been at My Blueprint for 5 years and very happy to be supporting education and pathways planning for students and, of course, helping teachers and counselors guide the students to where they want to be and where they need to be. Among the rest of our amazing team, we have 3 of our colleagues who they're not here, but they are strong advocates and supporters of everything that happens over in Alberta. And first is Brad Booker, our partner success manager, as well as Lisa Honcharova, also a partner success manager. And we have a bilingual partner success specialist, Natalie McMurty, who also supports quite a few divisions and independent schools in Alberta. Now, one of the amazing things with My Blueprint is that we always find that we have a myriad of our teachers and counselors who are experts, but then also we have newcomers to My Blueprint who are excited to get started. So we want to kind of have an idea of who you are, and this is for us also to be able to customize the session to make sure that it is suiting your needs and the interest that you have in joining the session. So just go ahead and let me know. Absolutely, if you're brand new, limited experience, use it a bit, but would like to learn more, or if you are an expert. And yes, I'm following up in the chat. So, Kathy, thank you for sharing that. And I will be happy to connect with you at the end to talk some more about that. Thank you so much, Kathy. All
Okay,
right.
I'm
So,
gonna end the poll here.
I'm wondering if anyone is being shy and just didn't want to put expert there. But yes, wonderful to see the beginners. Really, really nice to see the beginners. This session is perfect for you as well as it's perfect for anyone. And so really excited. Thank you for joining, and all of those who are intermediate, who have kind of used it but would like to learn more. This is a wonderful session for you to get started. Thanks for joining. Now, we have been in operation since 2005, and I think one of the wonderful things about our company is that we are so dedicated to empowering students in their career and educational pathways and their journeys. And that was the vision that our CEO and co-founder Gil Silverstein had when he started to conceptualize what my blueprint would look like. So the vision was to enhance student engagement, support their success, and of course, offer a comprehensive platform that would support the personalized learning experience for our students and guide them through those career exploration and goal setting pathways. Now, since starting in 2005, we have been so proud and really had wonderful experiences supporting over 360 plus school districts, boards, and divisions Canada wide. And included in that 360 plus is over 55 of those Alberta divisions, as well as within our schools, our 9,000 plus schools, we do have many of our Alberta schools within the divisions and also independent schools that have been using my blueprint. And what we understand is that the unique challenges that our Alberta educators face in guiding students through the evolving landscape of education and careers change yearly, especially now with the advent of the change landscape of technology as well. And supporting our educators, our counselors, our career development practitioners in helping students uncover their interests, build those meaningful portfolios, and making those informed pathways decision is especially critical at this era. And so we're proud to foster that, a culture of growth and expansion and exploration in Alberta. And I'll just walk through a few ways in how we're able to practice and enrich this in the lives of our students. And one of those ways, of course, is encouraging the students to have that greater depth of possible careers across Canada. Our database is comprehensive. So while we have all the programs as well as occupations that would be prominent in Alberta, we also support that Canada-wide exploration. Another thing, we create connections between schools and also provide access to effective career planning resources to meet those calm course outcomes, which is essentially important for our Alberta partners. We also are encouraging that self-discovery. That was one of the vision that we had in the creation of our company, having students kind of find out who they are and through that exploration make the best and the most informed decisions for themselves, essentially creating that blueprint for their lives. And so in exploring those post-secondary pathways options, over 15,000 of them, and documenting and reflecting on their learning experience, they're able to kind of have an idea of what the next steps are and not feel intimidated in taking those steps.
Thank you, Roxanne. And this is from the Alberta Task Force, the Career Task Force that came out in end of 2022. So it's nice to see my blueprint is really proud to support some of these initiatives that are very key and important to Alberta as well. So next we're going to take a look at the EPP tasks. So you may be familiar with this if you're involved in currently My Blueprint implementation and career education at your school. Basically, these are the tasks that are encouraged and scaffolded from grade 7 to grade 12, encouraging students to take action in their career and life planning in each year. Now, of course, students can be doing and engaging in different activities and additional activities in these grades, but we're encouraging them in their accounts to be completing these activities on a grade basis. And this is a great way to get started, to stay organized, and also to ensure that students from a young age are engaging in career exploration. We know the earlier they start having these career conversations, the more likely they are to feel confident in succeeding post secondary. So we don't get to grade 12 and say, hey, what are you thinking of doing after you graduate? We want to make sure by in those early ages, they're starting to have conversations. And of course, their plans can change. I know my plans changed. I always tell the story. I wanted to be a marine biologist, and then I learned I was very seasick when I went whale watching, so had to pivot a little bit. But we want students to start to explore those options so they can feel really ready to succeed. So I will share this chart afterwards, but it's a great jumping off point to get started. Another thing I wanted to highlight is the connection to COM. So some of you may be involved in actually the COM course, or you may be aware of students that are taking COM if you're in that guidance space. So this is just the chart from the COM course. So I'm not going to go into it too in depth, but I just wanted to highlight for those three outcomes with the overall aim of making sure students are making well-informed choices and behaviors and attitudes to kind of support their well-being after grade 12. So we want to know it's not just about being successful in a career, it's about feeling confident and feeling supported. So those three outcomes, first one, personal choices, the portfolios and goal setting tools in my blueprint help to support this. Having the resource choices, making sure students are making responsible financial decisions. That's definitely important and something I'm still working on. I know we all are working on. We really have those goal setting and budgeting tools to support students in becoming financially literate from a young age. And then finally, the career and life choices. This is the key sections of my blueprint where students can explore the high school planner, the post secondary planner, and the occupations. So students can see all the options available to them within and outside of Alberta. All right. Any questions before we dive in? We're going to dive into the demo. This is what we'll be focusing on the demo because we will be together just until about 6:15 or 3:50 or 4:15 your time. So we will be together for not a long period of time, so we won't be able to dive into every feature. We don't want to overwhelm you, but we will highlight some key ones and encourage you to explore afterwards. We'll take a look at those EPP tasks, what they look like actually in my blueprint. We'll look at forwards and backwards planning, so supporting students as they start to plan courses, explore post-secondary options, and have some occupations of interest. And we'll end off taking a look at portfolios. Now, portfolios are so versatile. Students can be using them for so many purposes, subject-specific, COM courses, experiential learning, RAP, for example. So there's so many ways, and we'll just kind of showcase how you can access those. Amazing. Yes, connections to workplace readiness. I love that. So, in addition to the COM course is the workplace readiness. So, thanks for adding that in. Depending on the courses you teach or what your school offers, there's so many connections that can be made. So, I appreciate that, Allison. All right. So, without further ado, we're going to jump right in. So I'm in a student account. Just wanted to highlight in your counselor or teacher account, whichever access you have, you also have access to your own student account. Now, this is super important because you're able to actually explore and do the activities exactly as a student would, which I find when I was teaching, I sometimes wished I could see what it was like from the student perspective. So you're able to complete the activities, demonstrate it to students by clicking your student view button. So make sure you do explore that if you haven't had a chance already. Everything is saved and it's a demo account. So it's just your own personal demo account. So in my student view, I can see my homepage. When students log in, they're going to be brought to their homepage. And the first thing they'll see is they'll be prompted to and encouraged to complete their EPP tasks. Now, each year there'll be new EPP tasks, as I showed in the chart, and students will be able to see their progress. And this is nice because it's very student directed. We know students are super tech savvy, so they will be able to go through these tasks and work to complete them and track them as they go. So for my grade 9 account, and you'll be able to switch between grades in your student demo. So I'm just going to take a look at the grade 9. And I'll switch to grade 10. Just take a look at these. In grade 10, I've completed 7 of 9 tasks. These are the tasks that are still active. So I need to add a box and write a reflection in my portfolio, and I need to add an objective to my resume. But I have completed many tasks so far. I've been favoriting occupations, adding goals. One of them is the easiest one, logging in during the school year. So once they see this, they've already completed one of the tasks. And for each task students complete, they will actually be earning points that they can put towards prizes. So they can enter for different prize draws. And this is always an exciting piece for students and can encourage them to be actively using their My Blueprint accounts. So just a quick refresher here, when they log in, they are on their dashboard and they can click view all their tasks and keep track of the tasks. And the goal is for them to complete 100% of their tasks for their grade by the end of the school year. And on your teacher or counselor account, you can track the progress through your reports. So on the left-hand navigation menu of your account, you'll be able to see reports and you can see how students are tracking towards completing 100% or close to 100% of their IPP or EPP tasks in Alberta. Any questions about EPP tasks? Or I know many of you are using these in your school. So how are you maybe implementing them? I'd love to hear. Yep. So this is maybe Roxanne can provide the information about the privacy, but that is something we take very, very seriously. All of our servers based in Canada, all of that information is protected, and we do have that privacy policy as well if you are interested in learning more. But it's something we do take very, very seriously. So thank you for asking that. All right, so the next we're going to show is the forwards and backwards planning. So this is, and I'll share the poster afterwards, this is a way for students to engage and have that introduction to career planning. So the goal is we want students to would meet them where they're at. So if you have a student that comes into your classroom and your office, they may fall in one of two camps or they may be between one or two. They might know exactly what they want to be when they grow up. They've dreamed of being one occupation and they're set on this. So we want to support them by working backwards. So if you've always wanted to be a web designer, how can we provide you with information on the occupation, the post-secondary programs you need to be in to be eligible for this occupation, and then one step backwards, what do we need to take in high school to get into these programs? So this is how you would maybe be working with that student to support them. And this will avoid the many questions of what do I need to take to get into this program, or, oh, I didn't take this in grade 10 and now I need to go back and take it again. So we really want students to feel adequately prepared. That way, if students come into your class, they know exactly what they want to do, you can support them this way. Now, a lot of the students, and this is the camp I was in, may not know exactly. So, how can we support students by planning out their high school courses based on some of their interests and then seeing which post secondary programs they are eligible for? Now, we want to be open to all post secondary pathways. So, knowing that students may be going into college, university, workplace, or apprenticeship. So, supporting all those options and providing them with information. Now, once they've maybe selected some post secondary programs of interest, what career opportunities will those open? Now, we may know the classic careers that exist, but what are the careers outside of this? And how can we ensure students know all the options? And then hopefully by the end of this process, they have a few occupations in mind that they can work towards. Of course, this can change, but we want to support them on their journey. So let's do an example together of a student who is not really sure exactly what they're wanting to do after high school. So this is the high school plan. So on the left-hand navigation menu is where students can access all the features. We won't explore them all today, but just to highlight to you, in addition to the high school plan, we have Who Am I surveys. Some of you are probably very familiar with these. These are some of our most popular features, but they are student-specific surveys that students can fill in and learn more about themselves. So if you've never explored those, I would really encourage you to go in, complete some surveys yourself, and learn more about you. Then we have the high school plan, which we're going to explore now, and the other features that we'll continue to go through throughout the session. In the high school plan, students will be able to see when they log in, likely a blank plan if they haven't filled anything. And they'll be able to add their courses, and they'll be pulling in from the Alberta course catalog and the course catalog from your school, depending on how you're licensed with My Blueprint. and they'll be able to select their courses. If they're already in grade 12, they can go back and fill in their courses if that's not already populated, and they can start to plan. Now, I know when I was in high school, we would plan semester by semester, and I wish I could have seen it as a whole big picture. So this way, students can take a look at the options from grade 10 to 12. It doesn't mean they've locked in, they've chosen these courses, but it gives them a chance to look ahead to the future. When they are inputting their courses, they'll be able to click course, and then they'll be able to search the courses that exist. So I could, if I wanted to add another math course, for example, let's see, you're easily able to add this in. And this may look a little bit different for your school. You might have additional information, additional courses. And now, once the students have filled in their plan, as they go, it's going to be tracking them on the Alberta graduation requirements. So I love this because for guidance counselors, this again is a time saver because students will easily know if they're on track to graduate. So in this case, my plan here fulfills 100 out of 100 of the required credits. And I'm able to go in and actually view my progress. So I can see, and this is great for family members to see too, that I am on track to obtain all of these different credits to receive and graduate with my diploma. Any questions about that high school plan section? And yeah, Nancy, so if your school board has licensed with us to integrate with your SIS, then yes, it will integrate and talk to Aspen or Power School, for example. Yeah, so Nancy, yeah, if not all districts license in a way that will talk to the SIS. However, if your school district does, which it probably sounds likely, the information will pull in from Power School. So students will see their course schedule in here, which makes it really seamless. Allison, I see you raised a hand. Would you like to add it to the chat, or I can allow you to talk if you'd like? Yeah, I'll allow you to talk if you want to say. It's webinar, the new settings. I'm still getting used to it. Go ahead, Allison.
Thank you. No, my question was in
No
the
worries.
chat just around K&E planning. Is that available as well?
Oh, can you
Because
elaborate
those,
with the key
no,
and
yeah,
E?
knowledge and employability, they're not working toward a diploma, but a certificate of high school completion.
Yeah, so in the great question, when they go and view their plans, they would add a plan and they would be switching to which they're working towards. So I think the Alberta
Okay,
Certificate of
okay,
School
perfect.
Completion,
Yeah,
and then that would just change the requirements.
perfect. Thank you.
No worries. And as you can see there, students can complete multiple plans. So if they wanted to have a plan to imagine they are more focused on arts courses, they could create a plan for that. One may be focused on science and math. So this allows them to explore
Mhm.
lots of options.
Oh, that's really great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for your question. All right. And I'll keep an eye on the chat too if you have any other questions. The next part of the high school plan I want to show you is the pathway eligibility. Here, when you add your courses, and I'll just refresh to make sure it's up to date, this will show what this student is eligible for based on their high school plan. So it's a very, very powerful tool in my blueprint because it will automatically pull in all the programs that they're eligible for. So in this case, there's over doing some quick math, I think over 15,000 programs that this plan is eligible for. So from here, the student could click in and learn more about those programs. So for example, if I'm interested in a college program, I'm going to click here, and now I have over 9,000 programs to explore. So students, that might be a lot, so that's where we can take in and further filter. So in this case, I want the student wants to stay in Alberta, and they're interested specifically in engineering. So I'm going to add that as a keyword. So now I filtered from 9,000 very quickly down to 90 results. So in this case, the student can learn more about the options by clicking on the programs, and they can actually click these three dots and compare up to three programs side by side, which when I was in school would have been amazing because I was just flipping between pamphlets and websites and my head was spinning. So in this way, they can get that high level overview and compare those programs. So let's compare civil engineering at Lethbridge with civil engineering construction at the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology. So once I've compared, I'm able to see the program details side by side. And this is a great introduction for students to learn about the program. They're able to learn more about the program length, the tuition. They can confirm they're eligible, which is a good first point, and they can start to kind of build their plan. If they're interested in this program, they can favorite it. I'm going to favorite it. They can even add it to a portfolio. And this way they've saved it for later, so they know that they're tracking their interests. Any questions about how I got to this place where I'm looking at a specific program? Okay, so now the next step would be the student, they say, you know what, I'm going to go into civil engineering at Lethbridge. It's something I'm really interested in. I know that I meet the requirements because I have these courses in my plan. And I'd like to actually see what careers I'd be eligible for that would be related to this program. So I'm going to scroll down here and click on related occupations. So civil engineering technology at Lethbridge, there's several occupations in addition to just engineer that would be related. So we have 12 occupations that students can then learn more about and start to plan for their future. So in this case, we have um, civil engineer technician, marine engineer, drafters. So maybe occupations they haven't even heard of. In this case, I'm interested in the civil engineer technician. So I'm going to click in and then similar to the program, you can learn more. So students can learn more about the occupation. They can watch videos, which a lot of our students love because they can actually see the career firsthand and they can actually learn more about the outlook. So this one specifically is great because it does narrow down outlook by province as well as salary ranges by province. So students can have a really well-rounded idea of this career. Now, the final step would be seeing if they match. So I mentioned the Who Am I surveys at the beginning. Once students complete these, they'll actually be pulled into each occupation and it will see if a student is a good match. Now, of course, doesn't mean 100% if you're not a match or you are a match that you need to do that career, but it helps provide an informed decision. For me, I'm a slight match for civil engineering technician, and I can also take it one step further and complete a survey specifically about the job occupation of civil engineering technician. And then hopefully I end with a well-rounded decision that I can say, you know what? Yes, I'm going to be interested in this. I'll add it to my portfolio. And it's one of my top jobs that I want to pursue. So we went from not knowing what we're interested in, just planning our courses, to ending with a potential occupation of choice. And this can help students feel empowered and excited as they go through their high school career. Any questions about that process or any ideas as you've been engaging with students directly? Feel free to add to the chat, or you can also raise your hand and I can grant you that permission to speak through the webinar. All right, so I'll keep an eye and Roxanne will keep an eye as well. But for sake of time, we'll continue going on to the final portion, which will be portfolios. So I'll just highlight this very quickly for sake of time. On the left-hand navigation menu, students can access portfolios. Other features you may want to explore after this would be goals, as well as money, which is the budgeting tool, and the cover letters and resumes are here in work. So those are ones that may be of interest to you. So when we go to home portfolios, this is where students can document all their learning in one place. So students can create portfolios that are very tailored and specific for what they're going to be tracking. So I have a couple examples here. Students can have portfolios for specific subjects, for all their learning in environmental science, for example, for all their career exploration, for COM. So maybe all the things they're doing in their COM course. As well, this is a really one a lot of students have is they're preparing for post-secondary. So where they can document their learning. So this one I have it currently blank. However, when I start to fill in a portfolio, it's going to be populated with all sorts of boxes. Students can save their favorite programs. They can add reflections or details of their goals, and they're able to really highlight what they've been doing. And I think for students, this is really exciting because it follows them throughout the school years and they can look back and be like, wow, this is so cool. This is something I've been interested in since I was in grade 10. And now I'm graduating grade 12. I'm going into this program and look at all that I've accomplished. And you as an educator can be seeing this portfolio, learning more about students, and being able to provide them with feedback to build that connection. So So I love portfolios. I love that it turns into a slideshow automatically. So students can present this to their peers, to their teachers, to their family, and that they can share a link externally. So they can share a view only link to family members, to future employers, or post secondary institutions, for example. So the learning lives on. Anything additional, or Roxanne, anything else you want to add about the Education Planner account before we head back to the slideshow?
Well, it was so comprehensive, but I think one of the things I'd like to add too is that sometimes when the students are exploring, they're exploring their favoriting things, and they might not at the time add it to the portfolio, but then going back, they're like, wow, I did explore something last week. I didn't add it to the portfolio. I probably should. And so seeing that option of how they could go back, everything is still tracked in my blueprint. They're able to still grab it and document it in their portfolio.
Great point. So here in my blank portfolio, I'm going to add a box. So I forgot to add everything to my portfolio. So I want to add from my blueprint. I'm going to go to my favorites. And here, the favorites I just added, I can easily, with a click of a button, add them to my portfolio. So students can do that retroactively, and it's really easy for them to keep track, whether they're favoriting it or adding it right away to their portfolio. Thanks, Roxanne. Anything else, or anything else in the chat that we have? Or great question, Richie. Yes, they can still access their portfolio after graduation. Grade 12 and if they do an extra year, any graduating student will be prompted to change their email to their personal email address. So as long as they can update this in their account, or they can also let our team know, our support team, and we can update it on their behalf. But students, when they update their account settings, so in their account settings, and they update um, their personal email, and then as long as they log in every year and a half, every 18 months, it'll stay active for lifetime. But yeah, good to know, especially because they've worked so hard on their portfolios and all their things. They may want to refer back to it when they're in fourth year university. They're like, oh, well, what did I want to do with my life again? They can go back to my blueprint and it's going to be available for them.
And I've
Right.
also gone back and seen where quite a few of students who have already graduated, they are still going in and doing their resumes and cover letters. So tracking that engagement, you still see afterwards that they're in there doing those resumes and cover letters and doing their budgets as well.
Yes, budgeting for sure too. All right. For the resume templates, the current templates are what exists in my Blueprint Education Planner. However, we are constantly improving and working on new updates. So I will add a note about making sure there's maybe updated, refreshed templates in our new resume feature in the future. Thank you for that, Renee. Do they
And
need to
to
pay? No,
No,
no.
Patricia, once it is that the division continues, then the student has access to their account forever.
All right. Yes, I know, exciting. So final question to wrap up, and I'll just keep an eye on the chat for this one, and I'll just pass it on to Roxanne to introduce it.
Yes, so of course, Joy has shown quite a few of the amazing capabilities that the platform has, and I'm sure you have explored as well with your students and on your own time. Based on what you've explored and also what we've covered today, what capabilities of My Blueprint do you feel most comfortable to use in your role, or on the alternate side, most valuable? So, you know, comfortable and valuable. And you can just
I'll
go ahead
just,
and type it
yeah,
in the chat. Well,
and I'll
for
keep
me,
an eye on the chat. And I want to address that question, Nancy. So my blueprint won't be changing to Spaces EDU. So Spaces EDU, for some of you may be familiar, it's our digital portfolio platform and competency-based assessment platform that's separate from my blueprints education planner. But my Blueprints Education Planner will be going through an update where it will be having a new look, but it will kind of live separately. There'll be Spaces EDU, and there'll be like the My Blueprint Education Planner new version, which potentially, as you saw, might be called Pathways. But good point. But yeah, nothing is really changing at this time, and anything that is changing will just be kind of improving what already exists.
Yes, Patricia, I agree with the career exploration and the portfolios. And I want to say, I enjoy doing the surveys immensely. I actually sometimes go in and I'm like, okay, based on who I am now, how I've evolved over the years, what would be the likely career if I were to decide to change course tomorrow? What would be the likely career? So I sometimes do that. So I really love the surveys as well, really valuable for that career exploration. And of course, the portfolios are wonderful. Another thing too with the portfolios is that the portfolios, when we share it, it's an interactive share. So each time that the students go in and make updates to the portfolios, once it is that the viewer clicks, they're seeing the updated version. So that's also wonderful as well as students continue to update, show development in their growth and their learning. Then once those changes are put in and those updates are made, then the audience who has access to that portfolio also sees those changes as well. Thank you so much for your responses. Career opportunities, Kathy. Oh, Alison, I will definitely reconnect with you on those fireside chats. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you for that question. I know Genevieve will be excited to hear of your interest in that. So I'll be sure to pass it on to Genevieve and be in touch with you about the fireside chats. And thank you, Ray and Nancy, as well, for sharing your insights.
Amazing. And thanks, Roxanne. I'll pass that. I'll leave that to you for the fireside chats because you seem to have more context specifically in this question. Wonderful. So I'm going to wrap up with just a couple next steps, but we will hang on for a few minutes at the end if you did have any specific questions to your district. A couple next steps is to set that time aside to explore Education Planner. We know we're very busy, but how can you find ways to integrate it into your schedule to support what you're already doing? If you don't know how to log in, you can always let us know and we can provide you with those division specific login informations. Then a great place to get started is doing those Who Am I surveys yourself and then encouraging students to do the Who Am I surveys and having students set up their portfolios. So CALM or RAP, for example. And then finally, a great way is to have students start to explore the occupation search and post-secondary planner to see all the options available to them. So there's thousands of post-secondary programs, hundreds of occupations, having students start to explore and navigate those filters, finding ones that might be good fits for them. Now, resources you will receive some resources, including the Getting Started Guide, some great discussion planning, and poster. And if you do want any additional resources, you can always reach out to our team. Any other questions? I know Roxanne's been doing a great job fielding the chat, but if there are any other questions, feel free. And yes, Patricia, there are US universities to explore. I'll just show you how you can access those. So in the post-secondary, in the college and university, you can click American institutions. And this is where students can explore, I'll see how many we have in here, almost 1,200 institutions. They're interested. All right. So finally, we would love to hear from you. So I will share a follow-up survey in the chat right now, and it will be sent in the follow-up email. And of course, thank you so much for all that you're doing to support Alberta students. We are here as your partner. We're here to support you. So feel free to reach out to us if you do have any questions. We have guides, lesson plans, video tutorials at myblueprint.ca/support. And we're always open to hearing any questions or feedback. Support at My Blueprint, or you can talk to us on the phone. And I will send a follow-up email so you'll also have my contact information if you do have any specific questions. But a huge thank you, and I'll pass it to Roxanne to kind of say a final goodbye.
Thank you so much for attending, and definitely know that our connection does not end here. You are free to email Joy or myself. And of course, if it is that we need to field your email to other members of the team who directly support your division, we're always happy to do so. It was a pleasure presenting to you, and we look forward to more Alberta specific connections.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.